I've been working on the third volume of Toshiden recently, and one of the urban legends I delved into was that of the infamous Samejima Incident. It's been mentioned a few times here and there on this channel, but I've never gone too in-depth into it. Well, in anticipation of the new Toshiden volume coming out soon, this week we're going to take a look at the Samejima Incident, perhaps one of the most famous urban legends to be born out of Ni Channel. It all began on May 24th, 2001, when someone posted the following. This thread is to talk about the Samejima thread, the semi-legendary story. There are probably lots of people who have no idea what this is about, but I think there are also lots of people who have been around Ni Channel for a while who will remember it. In much the same manner, I really started getting into Ni Channel myself once I saw the Samejima thread, and I still remember the shock I felt when I first saw it. Is there anyone here who saved that thread? This thread brought up the Samejima incident, which numerous people had apparently been around for. But the poster also commented that there was no doubt that many others had no idea what this was. So, what was the Samejima incident, and why was it so darn memorable? This was where the fun began. Nobody seemed to know what the Samejima incident was. What did Samejima even mean? The kanji means shark and island, but there's no such place in Japan with that name. It could have been a person's name, as that is a last name, but in the end, no one seemed to know what it really was. Or did they? Numerous people instantly replied asking what the heck the Samejima incident was. It sounded interesting, and they wanted to know more. Yet before long, more people chimed in warning others to stay quiet. Samejima wasn't something you spoke of. If you did, the police would track you down and arrest you. Whatever it was that bad. Of course, this just made people want to know about it even more. This is Ni-chan after all. Before long, numerous rumours spread as to what Samejima referred to. One story claimed that Samejima referred to the lynching of a Ni Channel user who posted under that handle. This beating was so vicious that the Ni Channeler ended up in the hospital, although no reason was ever given for this surprise lynching. Another story claimed that it had something to do with Samejima Muneaki, a Japanese politician. Again, whatever he supposedly did, it wasn't something people should speak about out loud. Yet another story claimed that Samejima referred to an underground video site. This particular website produced certain videos that you wouldn't otherwise be able to procure in normal ways, to put it politely, and their customer list also involved a whole bunch of Ni channelers who really wouldn't like their details and hobbies being released to the public. Yet, the most popular story, and perhaps the one most people think of today when they hear the word Samejima, was the disappearance of 5 Ni channelers. According to the story, these 5 Ni channel users visited an island called, you guessed it, Samejima. This island could supposedly be found off the coast of Kagoshima in Japan's southwest. These 5 users mentioned that they were travelling to Samejima, but after departure, they vanished. Police reportedly investigated the island, but found no trace of them. They seemingly vanished into thin air. It wasn't until 6 months later that the bones of 4 of these missing Ni channelers were found, and then sent back to their families. Yet, one remained missing. The day after, someone posted on Ni-chan claiming to be that final member. They posted only one thing: I'm at Samejima. Police set out once again to Samejima, and this time they found the final missing member's corpse. It appeared to have been eaten by animals, but they also found what looked like human teeth marks and evidence of strangulation. Of course, this story was nothing more than a story. no such thing was ever posted on Ni Channel, and an island named Samejima off the coast of Kagoshima doesn't exist. But so many people were hyping up the terrifying and horrifying Samejima incident that no one should ever speak of, that someone was bound to create their own story as to why before long. Now, if the Samejima incident was never a thing to begin with, it begs the question, how did it get started? Was it another simple Ni-chan troll, or something more? The first thread mentioning the infamous Samejima incident, which didn't exist until that very thread, was posted in 2001, which was still the early days for Ni Channel. People were a little more naive than they are now, and it was much easier to spread false information as a result. Several days after the original thread was made, another person appeared claiming to be that same poster. By then, news of the Samejima incident had spread like wildfire, and people were talking about it all over the forums. What was the Samejima incident? Who remembered it? Did anyone save the original thread? On and on it went. Yet this person claimed that not only did they post the original thread, most of the initial 30-odd replies also came from them. This person was, in essence, having a conversation with themselves to stoke the fires. By replying to their own thread with comments like, "Yeah, I remember that," or "Shh, don't speak about the Samejima incident," they were hoping to get other people interested and take the bait as such. And it worked. The story of the Samejima incident, whatever that was because nobody knew, soon spread outside that original thread, and it wasn't long until seemingly everyone was talking about it and coming up with their own additions. Once that was done, the legend took on a life of its own. Other users implicitly agreed that it should never be spoken of, and whenever someone chimed in, unawares, asking what the Samejima incident was, they would often be warned not to ask about it, or else the police might come and arrest them for that alone. The police, if they were lucky. It became a piece of metafiction that, if you didn't know any better, you might think was a real thing. These days, we generally know better, and anything that comes out of Ni-chan is viewed far more suspiciously. But back then, not so much. There were, of course, skeptics, but they were drowned in the flood of people genuinely interested in what this incident was supposed to be. The problem, of course, being that there was no incident. It started as nothing more than a joke that quickly grew and took on a life of its own. And because there was no real incident, Ni-chan users filled in the blanks themselves and came up with all sorts of possibilities of what it really meant. A place, a person, an event. Ultimately, Samejima was whatever you wanted it to be, and that was the beauty of it. The legend of Samejima has even been transformed into several movies. It appeared in a 2011 movie titled The Curse of Ni Channel, and another movie was planned for the same year simply titled Samejima Incident, but due to various reasons the project was dropped. Then, just a few short months ago, yet another movie was released, this time called Shin Samejima Incident. I'll leave a link in the comments if you want to watch the trailer for either of those movies. Ni-chan has been a fertile breeding ground for many of Japan's modern urban legends, not to mention the countless mysteries it seems to spawn on an almost daily basis. Samejima is undoubtedly one of the more popular ones, possibly due to being in the right place at the right time. A time before people really started to distrust most of the things posted there, allowing the story to easily spread as more and more people jumped on board. But remember, the first rule of Samejima is that you don't talk about Samejima. But what do you guys think about this one? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.